my $250,000 undrafted free agent tight end is the biggest, the best run blocking, just blocking in general, the most physical at the point of attack, and also the most athletic. Maybe not the most natural hands, but when we're talking about relative to the second tight end on this roster's role within the offense, the guy right now who sees more snaps than Brevyn Spann-Ford does, and Luke Schoonmaker, okay, his role is not as a receiver on this roster. Not on a team that features guys like CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Jake Ferguson. Okay, so if my $250,000 undrafted free agent tight end is the biggest, the most athletic after the catch, and plays with the most mean streak as a blocker, offensive linemen block first downs, skill position guys, tight ends, those types of people, they block touchdowns. Brevyn Spann-Ford blocks touchdowns. This goes all the way back to week 2 when we referred to him as BNSF, Burlington Northern Spann-Ford. Brevyn Nasty Spann-Ford. Burlington Northern Santa Fe. Freight train forward. Because of stuff like this. So here's what we got to understand. All right. Because I can't find a logical explanation for why he doesn't see the field more. Why he's the third most snaps of the tight ends in playing time. If it's because of politics and he's not getting he doesn't have second round draft capital to his name, and he dang sure doesn't have a contract extension like Jake Ferguson does. If that's the reason, then that's wrong. If this is a meritocracy, then that's wrong, right? For the same reason that Brian Schottenheimer set the standard once again. Nobody is above. No I is above we. I got $200 million of receiver over there sitting on the sideline while my first team offense jogs out there without them. Because the standard is the standard. It's a meritocracy. Everybody must be held accountable for their actions and held to the same standard. So if that's the case, then why doesn't Brevyn Spann-Ford see the field more than at least one of the other two? Why is he the third most snapped tight end on the roster? Okay, so here's what you got to understand. This is like getting a little bit deeper below the surface now, okay? The colder it gets, as the season progresses, the more banged up guys become, which is going to include everybody. But the less that the league, any particular Cowboys opponent, any member of that particular opponent that is going to line up against this Cowboys team, they're going to want to deal with Brevyn Spann-Ford significantly less and less as the season carries on. A guy that's trying to kill you. Literally shadow realm people. Any chance he can get, he's going to take it. That mean streak that he carries, by the way, I mentioned he's the biggest. I don't know if it's common knowledge and understood how big he actually is. He's 6'7", 270. For reference, Jake Ferguson is 6'5", 250. Not the most fluid hands of the three. That's Jake. But tight end 2 doesn't have to catch the football for me. And if he does, I'm manufacturing the touches. Okay, put the football in his hands behind the line of scrimmage on a designed, a leak out screen. which is the way that they deployed Luke Schoonmaker in the passing game to begin with anyway. So let the guy that's a more difficult yak monster handle those duties. And then when he's not catching the football, which is going to be very few and far between, he's causing havoc everywhere else, making people want to quit. Okay, so there's that element. Javonte Williams, the power and pad level player, paired with the interior three for this Cowboys offensive line, which is known for forklifting people and moving them off of their spot, being nasty. Add a 270-pound tight end to the mix, one who's the Cowboys' version of Darnell Washington, if we're being completely honest here, a lighter but more athletic version of Darnell Washington, who's recently burst onto the scene. More so, Cowboys fans have been kind of keyed in on this dude coming out of Georgia for quite a while now, just because of his skill set, right? We wanted that physicality, but now they got it. Just in a little bit different, slightly different body type, slightly, and more athletic. Slightly less heavy, but every bit as nasty body type than Brevyn Spann-Ford. Okay, so now the next thing is part of the frustration or the purpose behind this is because I believe that the Cowboys, for colder weather, the way that they're structured, physicality, right, just with the power and the pad level elements that we just discussed, defenses. Right, the modern defense, the hybridized defense, where you're more, you give yourself more of an advantage if you can play with heavier bodies and win at the point of attack. But even better yet, a talking point that I've heard Greg Olsen be very loud about, which is, okay, condense the formation to throw, spread to run. Right, so to do the opposite of what your formation or your personnel, your alignment would suggest to the defense that you're going to do. Okay, so if the Cowboys are deploying 3 receiver sets more often than they're deploying 2 tight end sets, especially if that 2 tight end set doesn't include Brevyn Spann-Ford, then to me that's less advantageous to them. Okay, Ryan Flournoy, yes, probably the wide receiver version of Brevyn Spann-Ford that we're talking about here. But once again, that third wide receiver isn't bringing a ton of pass catching. You're not relying on route running ability, high point ability, just yak or catching the football in general. A ton of targets aren't going to the direction of tight end 2 or wide receiver 3. But if I'm getting more so as a run blocker with my 12 personnel than I would with my 11 personnel and Ryan Flournoy. If Brevyn Spann-Ford does more for me in the run game, which he does, than Ryan Flournoy. No disrespect to Ryan. It's just there's levels to this, right? Physically speaking, Brevyn's 270. Flo is 200. There's a big difference. But he moves well enough to make people miss. What I'm getting at is the athletic ability, the difference in Brevyn Spann-Ford relative to the base linebacker that would be jogging out there to match that personnel. He's more athletically gifted. The gap between his athleticism, even at 270, and the 240 or 50 pound linebacker that's going to be tasked with potentially dealing with him on a manufactured touch behind the line of scrimmage or just at the point of attack in general, whatever you want to say. Brevyn's going to have a more significant athletic and power advantage relative to his linebacker or edge in many cases, or safety that walks down and tries to deal with him. Then Ryan Flournoy will have an athletic advantage over any particular corner or nickel or safety who tries to go and deal with him. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've said that in a way that it's easy for you to consider, to pontificate, right? Fewer guys are going to be less enthusiastic about dealing with Brevyn, okay, as the season goes on, especially when it's cold outside. But then also, too, the athletic advantage that he gives you with your formation, with who you are, force teams into heavier boxes and then throw to your freaking Ferraris on the edges. Make them overcommit to stopping Javonte Williams. Load the box to have to deal with Brevyn Spann-Ford. You're not throwing it to wide receiver 3 or tight end 2 anyway, so it doesn't matter whose hands are better. I want the nasty. I want the opposite of this country club Cowboys narrative that we've spent a lot of time discussing this offseason, trying to free them of. And honing in on the things that Brian Schottenheimer says that would indicate that they're doing everything in their best interest to make sure that that is the case. So do this now. Put that guy on the field more. Deploy 12 personnel more than 11. Your 2 tight end sets that feature Brevyn Spann-Ford should be a more common personnel grouping. Obviously matchup dependent, right? Game script is also going to have something to do with this as well. If I'm down 2 touchdowns, yes, of course, I want Ryan Flournoy on the field over Brevyn or Luke, of course. But with this defense now, kind of the whole point is should be understood that you're going to be in much more neutral or positive game scripts to begin with. But with the teams that you're getting ready to play, Philly, Detroit, Kansas City, those are lunch pail football games to begin with. You're going to want Brevyn Spann-Ford out on the football field, matching their energy as far as physicality and the nasty goes. So in closing, I can't figure out, there's not, for me on film, and I've watched it, I've seen every rep that he's taken part in. I've been, like I mentioned earlier, conveying this to you guys. I wrote about Brevyn Spann-Ford being a starter on athlonsports.com on behalf of Mike Fisher. This was before training camp began, back in, I want to say, May or June. This is a guy that I was bringing to light. Okay. Fast forward to week 2, when he really steps up and shows out, showcasing his physicality on full display. I did it again. I brought him to light yet again. Fast forward now to this past week against the Raiders. Full display once again, but still not seeing this. At this point, that was 8 weeks ago, 8 games ago in week 2 when we first brought him to light. Thinking, okay, this is trending in the right direction. He's going to eventually take over tight end 2 duties. Still hadn't happened yet. I still can't figure out why. Luke Schoonmaker's not catching the football for me. Yes, it's true that Brevyn Spann-Ford's hands aren't his strong suit, but I don't need them to be. Not with this system. If this is truly a meritocracy, and it's not politics keeping Brevyn Spann-Ford off the field over the likes of at least one other, then what is it? You guys tell me. Let me know. Help keep this content free. I appreciate you guys helping me continue to grow. We're pushing to 10K before season's end. I know that we can do it with your help. I've done my part, so hopefully that you've enjoyed yourself. If you have, if that's the case, all I ask for you to do, the only favor that I need is you to hit that like button for me. That keeps this stuff free and it keeps our platform growing. 85,000 and counting across all socials. Couldn't be more blessed. And I don't take it for granted that I get to do this on behalf of you. The sports below the surface truth for the true fan. I'm Lando from The Lando Show. I hope you enjoyed this one. Remember that prayer changes things and the war's already won. Talk to you guys soon.